the courts of princes and the chambers of men, there lies a single peril greater than the armies of enemies, the false friend. For betrayal comes not with a trumpet, but with a whisper at your side. To survive, one must learn to separate the loyal from the deceitful. Have you ever wondered who among your circle would stand firm if your fortune crumbled, and who would abandon you the moment the feast ended? Today, we solve this problem with 5 Machiavellian tests, so you may know who is real and who merely waits for your downfall. In every age, men have been blinded by the illusion of loyalty. They surround themselves with companions who smile in their presence, who swear oaths of friendship, and who bow in moments of prosperity. Yet, when the winds of fortune turn against them, these same companions vanish like smoke carried off by the breeze. This is the greatest peril faced not only by princes and rulers, but also by every man who holds even the smallest measure of power, influence, or wealth. For betrayal rarely comes from the enemy, who stands before you with sword drawn. No, betrayal arrives from the hand that has shared your table, from the mouth that has praised your name, from the shadow that walks beside you unnoticed. Men desire to believe that loyalty can be measured in words, in promises, and in gestures of affection. But the truth, which most prefer to ignore, is that such things are easily counterfeited. A smile is cheaper than a coin, and promises cost nothing to the lips that utter them. It is precisely this blindness, this indulgence in sweet illusions, that has led rulers to their downfall, leaders to their ruin, and common men to find knives in their backs when misfortune strikes. Consider this: when fortune smiles upon you, when your position is strong and your purse is full, how many gather at your side? They drink your wine, they flatter your deeds, and they proclaim themselves loyal. Yet is this loyalty, or is it mere hunger disguised as friendship? Most men mistake those who serve their own advantage for those who serve their person. They believe companionship is loyalty, when in truth it is nothing but a transaction, destined to collapse the moment your advantage disappears. This blindness to human nature is the very problem that we must solve, for to live or rule without discerning true loyalty is to stand on ground that will one day crumble beneath you. Now, let us think on the psychology of men. Most do not follow you because they love you. Love, though it appears sweet, is weak in the face of necessity. Men are bound by what serves them, and when that service ceases, their loyalty ceases with it. The majority are like reeds bending with the wind, faithful only to their own comfort and survival. When you prosper, they cling to you as vines upon a strong wall, for you feed them, you shield them, and you raise them up. But when adversity strikes, when your strength falters, those same vines will wither and fall away, seeking another wall upon which to cling. This is the problem that destroys princes who trusted too easily, who mistook words for devotion. It is the ruin of generals who gave command to false allies, believing their obedience genuine. And it is the tragedy of men who opened their hearts to friends who fled at the first shadow of trouble. Every betrayal in history began with misplaced trust, and every misplaced trust began with a failure to distinguish true loyalty from false. Think of Caesar, surrounded by men he believed steadfast, only to fall beneath the daggers of those he had raised to power. Think of kings who gave too much to flatterers, whose thrones collapsed, when the same flatterers abandoned them to win favor from another. Even in the smallest household, the same truth repeats itself: the loyal friend is rare, and the deceitful companion is plentiful. Thus the problem is not merely one of history or of rulers. It is the eternal struggle of human life. Who can I truly trust? The danger of this blindness lies not only in betrayal, but in the illusion of safety it creates. When a man believes he is surrounded by loyalty, he becomes careless. He reveals his plans, he entrusts his wealth, he exposes his weaknesses, and in doing so, he places the blade in the very hands that may one day use it against him. To mistake shadows for substance is to invite ruin into your own house. Yet men continue to do it, blinded by their need for companionship, comforted by lies spoken with conviction, and seduced by the warmth of company that hides cold intentions. Here lies the problem without a method. Without a deliberate test, one cannot know who is truly loyal. For appearances deceive, and words flatter, but only circumstance reveals the heart. The problem is as sharp today as it was in my time. Men are surrounded by allies when fortune smiles, but they are left in silence when misfortune comes. Thus the wise man must not wait for betrayal to strike. He must anticipate it. He must see the nature of those around him before adversity unmasks them. The false friend will always present himself as true until tested. And most men, unwilling to confront this bitter reality, never test until it is too late. They would rather believe in loyalty that does not exist, for it comforts them, than face the truth that those around them serve not them, but themselves. This is the blindness that invites destruction. This is the disease that eats away at the security of rulers and the peace of common men alike. Understand then the gravity of the problem. It is not simply about betrayal, it is about survival. For the ruler who cannot distinguish loyal subjects from treacherous ones will lose his throne. The general who cannot distinguish loyal soldiers from self-serving ones will lose his army, and the man who cannot distinguish loyal friends from false companions will lose his peace, his wealth, and perhaps even his life. This problem spares no one, whether prince or pauper. It is a danger as universal as hunger, as persistent as ambition, and as sharp as envy. Know that we understand the problem of false loyalty. We must look upon it with the cold eyes of reason, for if a man desires to see truth, he must strip away illusion, sentiment, and all the comforts that blind the heart. This is the Machiavellian approach, not to believe what men say, but to judge them by what necessity forces them to reveal. The world is not governed by words, nor by vows, nor by affection. It is governed by need, by fear, by advantage, and by the unchanging nature of men. He who would secure his fortune must measure loyalty through these lenses, not through the soft dreams of trust. The first principle is this: men are not loyal by nature, they are loyal by circumstance. A man will stand beside you if it serves him, but if fortune changes and his advantage shifts elsewhere, his loyalty will dissolve like ice in the sun. Therefore, a wise leader does not ask, "Do they love me?" but instead, "What binds them to me?" For love is fleeting, but necessity is enduring. If their survival, their profit, or their safety depends upon your strength, then they will remain loyal as long as that strength endures. Remove that necessity, and you will find how quickly their devotion fades. This is why a prince, or any man who wishes to protect himself, must never trust loyalty untested. He must apply pressure. He must observe not when his companions are comfortable, but when they are placed under strain. For in prosperity, all appear faithful. It is in the shadow of adversity that the mask falls away. Thus, the Machiavellian approach is not to accept appearances, but to deliberately create conditions that reveal truth. A ruler who merely believes the oaths of his allies has already lost. For oaths are broken whenever interest demands it. Men do not betray because they despise you, but because the betrayal serves them better than loyalty. It is not hatred that moves them, but advantage. Therefore, if you wish to secure loyalty, you must ensure that serving you always benefits them more than betraying you. This is the calculation that governs the hearts of men. And the wise ruler, rather than demanding love, constructs necessity so that loyalty becomes their best option. Observe, then, how the Machiavellian mind interprets friendship. When a man speaks kindly of you, it is not proof of loyalty, but proof that in that moment, it costs him nothing to flatter. When he brings you gifts, it may not be devotion, but merely an investment in future gain. When he fights at your side, it may not be courage, but fear of the consequences if he abandons you. Each action must be weighed not for how it appears, but for the need that compels it. For men rarely act out of virtue, but almost always out of necessity. Another principle is this: trust should be earned through observation, not granted through hope. The foolish man hopes that loyalty is natural, that friendship is pure, and that love is unbreakable. But the wise man accepts that all these things bend under pressure. Instead of placing his faith in hope, he places it in proof. He studies his companions when tested by loss, by danger, and by temptation. He creates circumstances where their true nature emerges, and from this study, he learns who may be relied upon and who must be discarded. This approach may seem harsh to the tender-hearted, but harshness is the shield of the wise. A man who clings to illusions may feel comfort for a time, but his end will be betrayal. A man who accepts the cruel reality of human nature will find security, for he will never be surprised when others act in their own interest. Indeed, he will have prepared for it, and by doing so, he will turn their self-interest into the very chain that binds them to him. The Machiavellian approach does not despise loyalty. It treasures it more than any other thing. But it treasures it with clear eyes, knowing that true loyalty is rare, and false loyalty is common. It is the rare jewel found only after much searching, not the stone picked up easily by the roadside. To find it, one must test, examine, and never assume. The man who assumes loyalty is a fool. The man who uncovers it through cunning is secure. Think of it as one would think of gold. If a merchant accepts every glittering stone as gold, he will soon be ruined, for most are false. But the wise merchant tests each one with fire. Gold withstands fire, false metals do not. So too with loyalty. Words and gestures may shine like gold, but only when subjected to the fire of adversity, absence, temptation, and time will the true metal reveal itself. Therefore, the Machiavellian approach is built upon suspicion, upon observation, and upon deliberate testing. Not suspicion that paralyzes, but suspicion that sharpens the mind. Not observation that merely watches, but observation that studies the causes behind every action. And not testing that humiliates, but testing that silently uncovers truth. Through this method, one learns not who proclaims loyalty, but who practices it when it is costly, when it is dangerous, and when it brings them no immediate reward. This is the discipline that separates the secure from the ruined. It is not enough to surround yourself with companions and believe their words. You must cultivate the art of seeing men as they are, not as they present themselves. You must learn to pierce through masks, to measure necessity, and to create conditions that bring forth truth. Only then can you begin to discern the rare man who remains steadfast, even when the world turns against you. If loyalty cannot be trusted in words, and if appearances deceive the eye, then one must employ trials, subtle examinations that reveal the true metal of a man. Just as a jeweler applies pressure to test the strength of a stone, so too must the wise ruler, the cautious leader, and even the common man apply certain measures to those around him. These measures are not born of cruelty, but of necessity, for only through testing can we distinguish between the faithful and the false. What I will now reveal are 5 distinct trials, each designed to pierce through the veil of deceit and expose the heart that beats beneath the mask. The first test is the test of adversity. When all goes well, men cling to you, for prosperity is like a banquet where many hands reach for the food. But strip away abundance, and you will see how swiftly the crowd thins. To test a man's loyalty, place him in a moment of difficulty, either his own or yours. Withdraw from him the comfort he receives by being at your side. Deny him the rewards he expects. Observe then if he remains, or if he turns away. The loyal companion does not scatter when the gold is gone or when the storm clouds gather. The false one, however, will vanish, for he was never tied to you, but only to the fortune that surrounded you. The second test is the test of absence. Men are quick to show their devotion when you are present, for they seek your approval and your gaze compels their behavior. Yet what do they say when you are not there to hear? To discover this, you must remove yourself from their company and leave only your shadow behind. In absence, the truth emerges, for without the pressure of your presence, their tongues grow loose and their hearts reveal themselves. The loyal will speak well of you, even when you are gone. They will defend you against slander and uphold your name. But the false will reveal their secret thoughts, mocking or criticizing you when they believe it safe to do so. Thus absence is a mirror, reflecting loyalty without disguise. The third test is the test of temptation. Every man can declare fidelity when no alternative is offered. But when presented with a chance to betray in secret, then his nature is laid bare. A wise ruler may create such opportunities deliberately, offering small openings where a man may gain by deceit. Watch closely what choice he makes. If he seizes upon the chance, then his loyalty was only a mask. But if he resists, not out of fear of being caught, but because his principles hold firm, then you may trust him more deeply. Temptation unmasks the soul, for it places advantage within reach, and only the truly faithful resist when betrayal offers them reward. The fourth test is the test of opposition. Few men reveal their true character when they stand before you in agreement, for agreement is easy, and praise costs little. But when you challenge them, when you question their faith in you, or when you feign weakness before them, you will uncover what lies beneath. Speak against yourself in their presence. Let slip words that cast doubt upon your own worth, and observe their reaction. The loyal will defend you even when you diminish yourself, for their devotion is not built on mere appearances. The false will eagerly agree, affirming your faults, for in their hearts they have already turned away from you. Opposition separates the defenders from the conspirators, for only those truly loyal will guard your honor when they are not compelled to do so. The fifth test is the test of time. This is the most relentless and unforgiving of all, for time strips away pretense and leaves only what endures. Many will appear faithful in the first month, the first year, even for a season of prosperity. But as the years pass, as fortune rises and falls, the fleeting companions are revealed. A man who remains steadfast through change, who stands with you in both triumph and defeat, who does not alter his devotion when others abandon you. Such a man has passed the hardest trial. Time is the enemy of deception, for no mask can be worn forever. The pretender grows wary, his true colors seep through, and in the long course of days he will betray himself. But the truly loyal grow stronger with time, their devotion proven again and again, until it is no longer in doubt. These 5 tests are the tools of the wise. They are not declared openly, for the false man will adjust his performance if he knows he is being examined. They must be applied silently, carefully, woven into the fabric of daily life, so that the truth emerges naturally. One must never reveal that he is testing, for the value of the trial lies in the spontaneity of the response. Men betray themselves not when they are prepared, but when they believe no one is watching. Through adversity, you see who stands when comfort is gone. Through absence, you learn who speaks faithfully when you are not there to hear. Through temptation, you discover who resists the lure of gain at your expense. Through opposition, you uncover who will defend you in the face of doubt. And through time, you separate the fleeting from the enduring, the false companion from the true friend. These are the fires in which loyalty is refined, the crucible where empty words are burned away, leaving only the solid metal of proven devotion. Only those who emerge from these tests unchanged may be considered loyal, for they have withstood what destroys the weak, the selfish, and the deceitful. All others are but actors upon the stage, reciting lines that sound sweet until the moment arrives when their own advantage demands a different script. The lesson that emerges from the nature of loyalty is not one of comfort, but of survival. Men often desire to be loved, to be admired, to be surrounded by companions whose words bring sweetness to the ear. Yet such desires blind them to the truth that loyalty is rare and betrayal is common. The wise man, therefore, does not seek to live in a world as he wishes it to be, but in a world as it is. To learn this lesson is to place oneself in command of fortune, rather than to become its victim. The first part of this lesson is to understand that loyalty cannot be demanded, nor can it be assumed. It must be revealed through action. Too many rulers fall because they believe their power or their affection is enough to secure faithfulness. They imagine that subjects or soldiers love them for their virtues, or that friends cling to them for their character. But men do not love virtue for virtue's sake. They cling to what benefits them, and they abandon what costs them. To believe otherwise is to build one's trust upon sand, And when the tide comes, that trust washes away. The wise man learns that loyalty is not given freely, but must be tested, proven, and reinforced through necessity. The second part of this lesson is to recognize that fear often holds more power than love. This does not mean cruelty without reason, nor tyranny without measure. It means that men are less likely to betray when they fear the consequence, and more likely to falter when bound only by affection. Love is fickle, swayed by passion and circumstance, but fear of loss, fear of punishment, or fear of disgrace is steady. The ruler who understands this binds men, not only with rewards but also with consequences, ensuring that the cost of betrayal outweighs its gain. Such a ruler is less likely to be surprised, for he does not depend on the fragile thread of love to secure loyalty. Another part of the lesson lies in the art of suspicion. To live without suspicion is to live blind, yet to live consumed by suspicion is to live paralyzed. The wise man finds balance. He trusts what has been proven, but he continues to observe, for even the loyal can change when fortune changes. He keeps his eyes open, he measures the actions of those around him, and he never allows flattery to dull his judgment. He knows that loyalty can decay, and he guards himself against the slow poison of complacency. The lesson also teaches that loyalty, once found, is the rarest of treasures. Most men, when tested, reveal themselves to be false, bound only by interest. Yet the few who remain steadfast through adversity, absence, temptation, opposition, and time are worth more than any army or treasury. For one truly loyal companion is a fortress stronger than stone. Such loyalty, when proven, is to be cherished, rewarded, and protected. The wise ruler does not squander the devotion of such men, for he knows he may never find another. Instead, he binds them ever closer, ensuring that their faithfulness endures by making their fortune inseparable from his own. This lesson extends beyond the throne or the battlefield. It belongs also to the lives of common men. In friendship, in business, in family, the same principles apply. Many will walk beside you when the path is easy, but only the truly loyal will walk with you when the road is broken. The man who fails to learn this lesson opens himself to repeated wounds, for he will mistake every smile as friendship and every promise as truth. But the man who accepts it will suffer less betrayal, for he will never trust what has not been proven, and he will know how to discern the true from the false. The lesson is not meant to make men bitter, but to make them secure. For when you understand the nature of loyalty, betrayal no longer surprises you, nor does it shake your foundation. You expect it, you prepare for it, and you use it to sharpen your vision. Those who are false cannot harm you deeply, for you never allowed them close without trial. Those who are true become all the more precious, for you know their worth has been revealed in the crucible of testing. This is the strength that comes from learning the lesson of loyalty, not despair, but clarity. One must also learn that loyalty cannot be maintained by neglect. Just as a fire dies if not fed, so too can loyalty wither if not attended to. The wise ruler ensures that those who serve him faithfully are not left unrewarded, for ingratitude breeds resentment, and resentment breeds treachery. But he rewards not with reckless generosity, for that breeds greed. He rewards with measured justice, enough to keep devotion alive without corrupting it. In this balance lies the preservation of loyalty over time. The lesson warns, too, against overconfidence. Even the most faithful ally is still a man, and men are subject to change when circumstances change. The ruler must never allow himself to believe that loyalty, once proven, is eternal. It must be observed continually, maintained carefully, and tested anew when fortune shifts. He who grows complacent invites the same danger as he who trusted blindly from the beginning. Constant vigilance is the price of lasting security. The essence of this lesson is that survival belongs not to the Namavi, but to the discerning. The world is filled with those who speak sweetly and act falsely, those who appear devoted but harbor self-interest, those who wear the mask of friendship but wait for the moment of betrayal. Only by testing, observing, rewarding, and balancing can one uncover the rare loyalty that does not waver. And only by learning this lesson can a man, whether prince or pauper, stand firm when fortune turns against him. In the end, we arrive at the truth that most men fear to face. Loyalty is not what it seems. Words deceive, appearances flatter, and companionship fades when fortune shifts. Yet through the clear eye of necessity, through the deliberate tests of adversity, absence, temptation, opposition, and time, one may strip away illusion and see who is truly bound to you. The lesson is harsh but unshakable. Never give trust freely, never assume faithfulness without proof, and never mistake love for loyalty. For loyalty, once found, is rarer than gold and stronger than any fortress, but until it is revealed, every hand that greets you may one day carry a dagger. Learn this, live by it, and you will stand where others fall, prepared not only for loyalty's gift, but also for betrayal's certainty.